Let's now have a demo of touring the starting template for ASP.NET Core, which will include creating that new project in Visual Studio. We're then going to examine the structure of the project, identify the uniqueness of ASP.NET Core, and then we'll view a page in the browser. In Visual Studio 2015, I'm going to select New Project. With Web selected in our tree view under Visual C#, I'm going to select the first option for the ASP.NET Web Application template. I'm going to name this Demo Core and click OK. In the new ASP.NET Project dialog box, there's a section here for ASP.NET 5 templates. Note that at the time this video was recorded, Visual Studio still had this named ASP.NET 5, although it is now truly officially ASP.NET Core. I will choose the starting web application template. I will not host in the cloud, and click OK. The ASP.NET Core site is now loaded with its content in Solution Explorer. The welcome page provides many links to references that could be helpful to you. I will close this. And the first differentiating file I want to highlight is the project.json file. A primary use for this file is to manage the dependencies in the project. What references will be used? We could also say this as what middleware will we bring into the site for use? Much of this is provided by Microsoft. For example, notice line 18. Just serving static content is a feature that this enables. That is something that can be turned on or off by removing that reference and not using it. There's more to this file, but for the sake of this comparing one technology to another, it's important to note that this really is maintained in a JSON format file and therefore is easy to include in build and deploy processes. The other key file is the startup.cs. This is where developers have an opportunity to completely control what happens in their web application. The enabling of all the services or enabling the middleware, choosing what to do if the site is running in one environment versus another, and managing that entire HTTP pipeline, the request, the response, this happens here in the startup.cs. On line 95, the use of MVC is enabled, providing what the default route would be for the controller, the action, and optional parameter. Another interesting thing to look at is a new feature for MVC starting with ASP.NET Core. If we look at the view for the account login, notice on line 15, the color of the tag is different than others. And in fact, that purple look is also on line 18, line 20, and so forth. These are known as tag helpers. They are server-side processed, though they maintain the fidelity of that HTML markup, making it much easier for developers to work with. Let's now view a page. This is what this starting website content looks like for ASP.NET Core. When we viewed that page, we were using IIS Express. We can also run this in another process. The project.json file references a command by the word web, which points to a different server that could be used that runs in a console window. We're going to do that, but we're not going to do it from Visual Studio. In fact, I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code, and I'll do that by opening up Windows Explorer, going to the Demo Core Solution folder, into the SRC folder, and then right-clicking Demo Core here and Open with Code. That is the web folder itself. In the root of that folder, you'll see the startup.cs and the project.json. I would like to now run this site from Visual Studio Code. I want to be able to run a command, dnx, run command, and I want to choose web. And it was able to reference that from the project.json file. This opens up a console window where it now says that This hosting environment can be accessed by http://localhost:5000. So I'll open up a web browser, go to that address, and now we're seeing the same exact site running, this time in a different host environment. Although Visual Studio 2015 did create a .xproj file, these are only to support and assist Visual Studio 2015. Such files are not necessary in order for me to run them from Visual Studio Code or from any editor from that matter.